What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Flame070 and today I have another Spellbreak video for you. Last time on this channel we actually reviewed the game itself, the launch version of the game, so please make sure to check out that video. Thumbnail right here on the screen, in the card, and in the description box down below, so you guys want to check that out of my thoughts of the overall game. But today's video is all about breaking down the Tempest class, the Wind, the Airbender class as I call it. As you know, there are some quirks to it, and I think anyone jumping into this game should kind of understand how everything works. So I'll be creating a mini series breaking down all of these classes and stuff like that. So please make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that way you don't miss what is happening next. And also I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/flame078 during the week, so you guys can catch me live playing Apex, playing Spellbreak, and we can just chat about the content that I create here. So yeah, that being said, let's get to it. Tempest, the best way I can describe it is that mobility, agile, quick class. There are a couple of things off the gate when you start off with the Tempest class as your only means of attack that you gotta keep in mind. When you jump in, Wind it's the fastest shooting gauntlet in the game for sure, but it is also the weakest. It doesn't do a lot of damage even up close and personal. So when you land hot, or when you're landing and fighting in squads at the beginning without a secondary gauntlet, keep in mind, I think the best thing you need to note for is movement and kind of staying hard to hit to maximize, the effectiveness of you being able to kill someone with the Wind Gauntlet. It's not impossible. I've definitely done it, but it's harder because your damage output, especially if you're not hitting all your wind shots, it's going to take a little bit of time. So I think out of all the classes, Tempest does have the roughest in these 1v1 initial starting fights for sure. But there are other things that complement that make this class so much fun. The leveling system, the skills that you get as you level up in the match for Tempest are all about mobility. So your tornado sorcery, your ultimate if you will, is attack that pulls in enemies close, can kind of keep them there. They can still fire, they can still kind of jump and stuff like that, but it keeps them kind of still long enough for you to hit very long consecutive shots, which I think is very important for the thing that I mentioned before, the weak damage output of the Wind Gauntlet. But with that, if you leveled everything up, that tornado now becomes your escape route, because if you launch a tornado, it will actually launch you up if you go into it, which is actually really cool. And if you're fighting another Wind user, it kind of negates that pull on you. So if you're fighting a bunch of tornadoes, you're not going to get sucked in. You're going to be able to move freely, which is why they give you it's the whole agile class and whatnot. But that being said, that's kind of the overview of what you can do with Wind specifically. Let's talk about the combos. Let's talk about how the other gauntlets pair up with the Wind Gauntlet. So first one I want to kind of cover are the countering the damage by kind of hitting your enemies with long-lasting burn effects, and this goes to fire and poison. I think either of these gauntlets will be a good pairing for that specific reason, because fire and poison also kind of hit your enemies once, but also linger, do some damage as they're escaping, because of that burn effect. But talking about the tornado specifically, you do create, these awesome combo wind tornadoes that do that lasting damage. So if you throw a fireball at the wind tornado, it becomes a fire tornado. If you throw poison at it, it becomes a poison tornadoes, which is really, really cool. And again, it's all about creating that damage effect that is so crucial to capitalize on. With the quickness of the Wind Gauntlets, if you can chip away at your enemy, you can do it that way, and then you chip it away with the burn effects from hitting with fire or poison. That way it allows you to kind of get these enemies down to low health, so you guys can go for that kill, that exile, right? So that's why I recommend these two for that kind of attack style. It's really great for control as well, because if you're hitting people and they're getting burn effect, they're gonna not push you in that direction, right? So you can push them towards and rotate to maybe your teammates, or into a disadvantaged position where you can actually attack them really well. Now, Stone Gauntlet is the one gauntlet that I think is kind of an interesting pairing when it comes with the Wind Gauntlet, simply because they're like polar opposites, right? Wind is very fast and low damage. Stone is slow but very high damage. Stone is, I think, one of the strongest gauntlets, which I will cover in the Stone Shaper kind of class video, but Stone is just strong. So if you want something to counteract the fact that you're not hitting people with high damage, Stone is the way to go, right? Because you're going to hit those, you're going to break those shields in 1 or 2 hits, and you're going to be good to go to kind of finish the kill, right? And with the tornado, right, if you get your enemy stuck in there and you launch the boulder at them, that's a good chance of you being able to do a lot of damage and make sure you hit your targets. Unfortunately, however, one thing to keep in mind is, Stone is strictly a ground attack. So you will be limited in terms of aerial combat. If someone's flying around, zipping around you, you're not going to be able to hit them effectively, even if you hit them with the wind shots. You remember, it's low damage. So keep that in mind. You do have that nice little balance, but you're kind of limited to strictly kind of ground fighting if you pair these two gauntlets together. Now, lastly, if sort of similar to what fire and poison do, but in terms of just like shocking and preventing the enemies attacking, right? Specifically, frost and lightning are the way to go, right? If poison and fire do after effect burn damage, then these ones will prevent the attack altogether. Like I said, if you use your tornado, your enemy can still jump around. They can still fire back at you. But if you pair that up with a frost gauntlet and freeze them, or a shock gauntlet and like kind of shock them and they can't, attack, that's going to be really good for you, because it allows you a couple of seconds, a short window to just land consecutive hits and get their damage down. So if you like to play that way, that's the pairing I recommend for you, because frost gives you that distance sniper ability, and lightning is just overall a good way to neutralize attacks from incoming enemies. Now, when it comes to runes, there are a couple of runes that I kind of gravitate towards when I use the Tempest class, that being Teleport, Flight, and Featherfall, simply because it allows you for 3 different scenarios. For a quick repositioning, I definitely recommend Teleport, because you can use your tornado, shoot up, and then get eye level, eyesight on where you want to teleport to, and then boom, you can get there and reposition very quickly. It's very fun, very effective in that regard. It's a very good synergy in that way. If you want to just escape and just leave line of sight, that's where Flight comes in, because Flight is the best rune to kind of just escape battlefields, right? It's kind of easy to hit, but it allows you to get that distance if you're lucky enough. And also, if you just want to stay and maintain air superiority, use the tornado with Featherfall, and then that way you can rain down spells from levitating off the very, very high position. So I think these things gives Tempest the advantage in those scenarios, because you allow a lot of flexibility in terms of what you can do, how you want to play. Those are just the recommendations I have. Obviously, there are more runes out there, but if you want to take advantage of what the class has to offer, this is the way to go. Now, that was a lot of information in this short amount of time, so let's just recap everything. Tempest is quick and agile but low hitting, so keep in mind that initial fights are going to be rough, especially if you're doing 1v1s. Make sure to avoid damage as much as possible to allow yourself a lot of time to chip away at their health, because the damage is low. Think about the combos, right? If you want some burn damage to counteract the low damage, fire and poison's way to go. If you want just counteract with long hits, Stone is the way to go. Remember, you'll be limited with the ground. With Frost and Lightning, however, you have the ability to kind of not only prevent your enemies from attacking you for a little bit with the shock and freeze mechanics, but it gives you that sense of control, so to use that pairing if you wish. And the runes, if you want to maximize either quick repositioning, escapism, or air superiority, Featherfall, Flight, and Teleport are your runes of choice. Do not get it twisted. These runes are really good with the Tornado Sorcery. So overall, it's fun. Tempest is a lot of fun to use. I love how well it plays with all the other gauntlets. You have a lot of different options, a lot of different synergies. Tempest counters poison and fire very well, because it puts out the fire, and it also minimizes poison clouds as well. So that's where wind will win 9 times out of 10. Obviously, it's a little weaker with a little bit of the others, but I think that's totally fine. Overall, that's it for me. I hope you found this video educational, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button. Comment down below, what are your thoughts of the Tempest class? And if you guys did like this video and you want to see more of it, again, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and make sure to hit the notification bell so that way you guys don't miss when the next video drops, which will be tomorrow, with the Stone Shaper class review. Thank you guys so much. My name is Flame078. Have a great one. Until next time. Adios.